All right, let's get right into it. Just when you think things in the local AI world are starting to calm down, bam! DeepSeek drops a bombshell, completely out of the blue. DeepSeek V4. And they didn't just release some minor update. They made a claim that sounds like pure science fiction for your home computer.
A 1 million token context window. I mean, think about that. That's like feeding a model an entire epic novel, and it remembers every character, every plot point, everything. It's a total game changer. But for anyone who runs models locally, the first thing that pops into your head is, how? How is that even possible without, a supercomputer's worth of VRAM? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
So, what did they actually give us? We got two brand new models, and both are built on this really cool mixture of experts, or MO, architecture. The easiest way to think about it is like having a team of specialized AI brains, and the model is smart enough to pick the right expert for whatever job you give it. On one hand, you've got the DeepSeek V4 Flash model. It's technically a 284 billion parameter model, but it only uses about 13 billion at any given time. This is kind of your more accessible, lightweight version. But then you have the Pro model, and this thing is an absolute monster. 1.6 trillion parameters with 49 billion active. Just wild.
Now the obvious question is, how does it stack up against its older sibling, V3.2? Well, as you'd probably guess, it's a solid step up across the board. The new V4 Pro model pretty consistently beats the last generation in most benchmarks. Now, it's not a complete blowout in every single category, but the trend is undeniable. This is a real, definite step forward for the DeepSeek family.
But here's where it gets interesting. There's this unique feature, tunable reasoning modes. You can literally tell the model how hard to think. You can set it to no think for really quick, simple answers, or you can crank it all the way up to max thinking for those really complex, nuanced problems. And of course, the deeper the thinking, the better it performs, but it's also going to cost you more in processing time and tokens. It's a trade-off.
So, this brings us to the million-dollar question. Can it actually take down the big cloud models like GPT-4 and Claude Opus? Well, let's just look at the numbers. This table pits the V4 Pro on its max thinking mode against the best of the best. And as you can see, while it scores really impressively on some benchmarks, it's not a clean sweep. It's definitely competitive for sure, but this isn't quite that moment where local AI completely overtakes the cloud.
And that's a really important way to look at this. As AI developer Tim Karambite pointed out, this release probably isn't the "it's over for cloud" moment, but that's because focusing on those headline benchmarks, well, you'd be missing the real story here. The really cool stuff is happening under the hood.
Which, of course, leads us to the main question. If it's not the #1 model on all the leaderboards, why is everybody so hyped about DeepSeek V4? What actually makes this release so special? The answer isn't about raw intelligence scores, it's all about efficiency.
To get why that's so important, we need to talk about something called the KV cache. Now, in the simplest terms, just think of it as the model's short-term memory. It's like the RAM in your computer. As you feed it more context, more text, more tokens, this memory bank just gets bigger and bigger. And when you start talking about massive context windows, the KV cache becomes the single biggest bottleneck, eating up almost all of your precious VRAM.
And this is where DeepSeek pulled an absolute rabbit out of a hat. They developed a brand new hybrid attention architecture. This is not some software trick you can just apply to any old model. It is a fundamental change, baked right into the model's DNA from the very beginning. This is the core innovation that changes absolutely everything.
So, what does this new architecture actually do? Get ready for this, because this is the jaw-dropping number. Compared to its predecessor, it reduces the amount of memory needed for that KV cache by a staggering 90%. Let me say that again, 90%.
And this chart just illustrates the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got the memory usage of a traditional model. See how as the context length gets bigger and bigger, that VRAM requirement just skyrockets into impossible territory? Now, look at the bar for DeepSeek V4 on the right. It barely moves. That 90% savings is what makes the impossible suddenly seem, well, plausible.
So here's the key takeaway, the bottom line. The real breakthrough here isn't just achieving 1 million tokens. It's making 1 million tokens practical. It transforms this whole idea from a theoretical capability for some research lab into something that could actually be achievable on high-end consumer hardware, your hardware.
And what does this newfound efficiency actually unlock for us? Oh man, the possibilities are huge. We are talking about way smarter retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, that can analyze entire libraries of documents. We're talking about advanced coding assistants that can understand a whole complex code base all at once. and the ability to tackle those really sophisticated, multi-step white-collar tasks that require a deep, deep contextual understanding of a lot of information. This technology fundamentally changes the entire outlook for local AI. As Tim Karabot put it, the idea of 1 million tokens on a consumer machine went from, yeah, right, never going to happen, to, wait a minute, this actually might happen now. That's just how significant this leap in efficiency really is. It puts personal, hyper-contextual AI within our reach.
So while DeepSeek V4 is an incredibly impressive model all by itself, its true legacy might just be the architectural innovation it's bringing to the table. It proves that massive context isn't just about throwing more and more hardware at the problem. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question. If a 90% efficiency gain is possible here, what other fundamental breakthroughs for local AI are just waiting around the corner?